I hope everyone is well. How is everyone being? I've been very, very well. And I have been painting my fence over the last days. So today is a very special live because the live stream is being streamed on YouTube and on Instagram. So I've got two cameras in front of me right now. And I hope you guys are going to enjoy what we're gonna see today together. So what to start with, I'm gonna show you what I'm wearing right now. And I'm not wearing a tie yet because I'm gonna start knotting some beautiful ties together. I'm with Ciao Aldo, hope you're well. I'm wearing my white Bianca signature shirt from our shirt collection. And it's a 15 3/4, this one. And now when I got it, I really liked it, but then fitness is the worst enemy of sartorialism. And eventually it did end up being a little bit snug, but you know, I'm wearing it anyway. I'm also wearing our beautiful Nettuno braces and with clip and button fastening as well. So on our braces you get fastening with buttons, or you also get fastening with clips. And the reason behind that, as I always explain, is that sometimes you don't have time to go to the tailor to get your trousers with buttons on for your braces. So what do? You want to wear those trousers, what do? You wear them anyway. You just put some clips on your braces, but you just make sure you don't show them, right? Because they're not the most elegant things to look at, clip braces, but you can do both with our clip braces. So we're gonna start immediately with looking at some ties together. And the first tie that I want to show you, but before I do that, I'm gonna have to take off this ring because this ring is very, very, very painful when it comes to pulling silks from the body of our beautiful ties. The first tie that I want to share with you is one of those ties that when you touch them, you just feel like, seriously? So let's appreciate the softness first. Look at this. So you get a slight silky sheen, as you can see. But as I said, it's a silky sheen. It's not a cheap sheen or polyester. So this sheen that you get from silk is never cheap looking. And I think it's a rather corporate tie and very understated. But at the same time, it helps you stand out. Let's appreciate the pattern. And also the tenderness. So for those who want to look at this video, this live stream in a better quality audio and video, you might pop over to my YouTube channel, The Roma 1980, and you'll be able to follow me stream. The stream that you see now on Instagram, you'll be able to see also on YouTube. And also, I would strongly advise you watch the recorded version of this live stream on YouTube and not on Instagram, because on Instagram it's just painful. To go back and forth is just very, very painful. So for the sake of time, because I always like to keep my live streams sweet and short, I'm not going to go too much into the details when it comes to the length of these ties, as long as knot in the tie in a different point wouldn't affect the knot so much, I would say. So please forgive me if you find the tie a little bit too long, but that is not the point of this exercise today. So if I did knot this tie in a lower point blade-wise, it would knot exactly the same as you're seeing it right now. So let's forget about the length for a second, because I would have to perform a different type of knot to be able to have the tie falling exactly where it does now, and also not have too much discrepancy with the tail. But let's appreciate the beauty of this knot. Okay? So I think it's absolutely, what can I say? So I'm going to put on the jacket to this suit, and because I like to show you how they frame within a blazer. And also adding a jacket would help us kind of not give much relevance to the length that I just discussed. Is not going to be built into me thinking when I make the note, okay? So this beauty is now available on theroma1980.com as we speak. And what can I say? What more can I say? More than showing you how beautifully knot and how tender it is and how soft and smooth to the touch is. What more can I say? Nothing. So I think this beauty is just for those who want to be elegant, understated, but at the same time want to strike not just with the color of a tie or the design, but with a more of a extra sensorial kind of feel to that. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm going to take off the blazer again because I want you to appreciate the fit of the shirt that I'm wearing today. Take into account, as I said, this is a slim fit from Suit Supply. It's a size 40 chest regular. But I'm just gonna say something, and in Italian we will say, quello dico, quello nego. We might get some suits coming at the Roma, who knows? Who knows, right? I might be working already behind the scenes for you guys to bring you some suits that are not far off the price of a Suit Supply, but entirely made in Italy, in Naples. Who knows, right? I'm gonna leave it there. Tessa. Tessa is a tie that I made specifically for a customer who asked me to bring it back into stock for him only. We made it bespoke for him. And I said, you know what? I'm going to make a few more. How do you decide whether to use a Windsor versus a foreign hand? Love the quality product you make available. So this is a question that I've just been asked on YouTube. Right. This is a very good question, actually. Usually, I let my trousers and my collar spread decide what knot to wear. However, I am not into Windsor knots myself. I don't really like it. So if you ask me, I would always go for either four and a hand or Prince Albert or Cavendish. But if the question was how do you decide, what makes you decide is the collar spread of your shirt and also where you wear your trousers. Now, I started talking, I don't remember what knot I made in the end. I probably have made an old Bertie knot here. But I made it not exactly in the right spot, okay? So what I also take into account is where I'm wearing my trousers. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move on to the next tie, and I'm going to show you how I would personally knot this tie based on this collar spread and where I'm wearing my trousers right now. So this is Tessa, and it's a beautiful, you know, it's a in between a grenadine and a jacquard silk. Again, a stunner that really deserves to be looked at if you want to be a little bit more of a subtle man and not to want to be in people's face with your tie. And what I'm wearing now, it looks beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to I'm going to answer in depth the question that was asked on YouTube with the next tie. I am a size 50 long athletic fit size. Is a single knot acceptable? That's $1 million question. Okay, guys, since I'm being asked these questions about knots and height. I'm going to expand on this, okay? You should make a pleated tie like a Stefano Ricci Ombrioni. Up they are there. That's why I'm not making it, my man. Because if they are making it, why should I? Doesn't make sense. The Roma is not supposed to be a brand that copies what others do. We are a brand that have their own identity. So, the moment you see someone else doing something, I will go in exact opposite direction. That's what I do. So, what to take into account when to do a knot? I'm going to move on to the next tie, Ostrica, from our 30.000 collection, which I think is a tie that we already saw in another live stream, but I'm always happy to show you again. So, this is a tie that is 155 centimeters long, like most of our 30.000 from our 30.000 collection luxury tie. And the reason why we have 155 centimeters length is because the the 3 ties in the shirt you're wearing, I have them. Nico's saying that he has the shirts that I'm wearing, he loves them. Thank you, my man. I do appreciate your words. I'm gonna try not to get distracted too much by what you guys are saying on the chat, but I cannot ignore it because it's always a pleasure for me. So, 155 centimeters. The reason why the ties are 155 is because they give you more freedom in making different types of knot. If you want a bigger knot, you need a bigger tie, you need a longer tie. Otherwise, you end up with a tiny, tiny, tiny tail. Yes, I can share the tricot knit. Of course I can, my man. I will do it in a second. So, I'm wearing my trousers rather high. I am 182 centimeters tall, 181, and I'm wearing our shirt, which is a mid-spread. So, me personally, I'm not much into the proportion of the knot versus the collar. I have got a wider tolerance, I would say. So, thank you for insight. Your 30 collection that is so diverse and timeless. Thank you, my dear friend. This is still from YouTube. So, what I would do here is probably a Cavendish, because I want to wear a 4.5, or Old Bertie this is called. I want to wear a 4.5 looking knot, but because I'm wearing my trousers very high, I need to get rid of a little bit of length on the tie. So this is what I would do. But it's a trial and error. So I'm already seeing that it's too long still. So I'll keep going. Someone asked, what do I think about socks? No socks with a suit, which is what I always do in the summer. Right. So this is still long for where I'm wearing my trousers. I would probably do a different knot, but I don't mind this. So if you want me, guys, I can go into more depth and I show you different knots that will probably balance out the length. But the length thing, the length business, guys, is a big, it's a trial and error for me as well every time I wear a tie, okay? Is don't feel, how can I say, disheartened when you're seeing that you're taking too long to find the right length, okay? Because it's everybody. But I'm gonna do anyway, it's no problem. If you've got patience, when it comes to knotting ties, I'm always up for it. So now I've gone into Windsor. So the Windsor knot will use more tie, okay? So, and I probably get the length that I want, and that's exactly what happened. So the thing is, I am very much someone, when I make my own Windsor knots, I make them in a way that when I hide them underneath my shirt, collar, you don't kind of see that it's a Windsor knot. So this is what you get, okay? I'm actually been quite lucky this round because I got kind of the length that I wouldn't mind wearing. I probably, you know, if I want to be a little bit more classic, I'll stick the tail inside the trousers. And this is it. I hope this answered the question, my dear friends. So I look at collar spread and I look at the length where I'm wearing my trousers. I hope this helps. So someone was asking me something interesting. I don't know, I can't remember what it was though. I need to go back on Instagram and see. Someone asked me something, I can't remember what it was though, but it was interesting. Let me see. Oh yes, suits with no socks. This is a great question. So I'm going to explain this while I'm not this beauty. Right. It all depends on how you want to, why you dress up, why you wear suits. It's very important to understand this. If you're wearing suits because you want to look like a gentleman from the 1940s, but not, I'm not saying it in a bad way. If you want to look like a proper real gentleman, okay, you should always wear socks. Always, okay? If you want to wear in a classic way your suits, you should always wear socks. There is no way around, okay? When it comes to summertime, you just go for filo di Scozia socks, like more of a linen type of, I don't know, not linen, la filo di Scozia, I don't know how to say that in English. You go for some socks that are a little bit lighter, okay? But this is if you want to be like a proper gentleman, like, if you want to be, let's put it this way, if you want to be as elegant as our granddads. Now, if you're asking me, that's not why and how I wear my dapper clothes, okay? I wear my dapper clothes because I like them, and I like to look composed and to look well put together. At the same time, I want to look myself. I want to push my style onto the way I dress, okay? So, the moment I do that, I don't care anymore about rules, okay? So, today I'm wearing my double monks with no short socks. Some gentlemen will kill me for this, but do I care about that? I don't. Because I don't dress to look like my granddad, okay? Then I'm not saying that if someone wants to look like the granddads, I'm not saying in a denigratory way, if that makes sense. I just don't want to look like a gentleman from the old age. Or I don't want to look like a gentleman, a classic gentleman. I want to look a trendy, modern, contemporary, my own kind of style, well-dressed man. So, that is the answer to you, my dear friend. I hope that makes sense, because it's a very good question, and I do feel that sometimes people want to be themselves, and they can't be themselves, because there are out there are men who think that you need to stick to all these rules religiously and biblically, and it's just not right, okay? So let me go back to the comments on Instagram. If someone is asking other questions. No other questions so far. So I'm going to move on to some Regina. So for those who don't know, what by wearing suits without belt, is it trending nowadays? That's another good question. Let me finish on this tie and explaining for those who don't know what the Reginas are, and then I will answer that question. Our Regina ties are skillfully restored by my mother. The vintage ties that you get from us are not the vintage ties that you get on eBay, to cut a long story short. Because my mother in Italy, in Puglia, spends hours on end restoring some beautiful ties and adding a touch of class, a unicity, if that is even a word, unique touch to these ties. So they kind of get a very researched, ricercato in italiano, style. Now, the tie that I am knotting right now is a lightweight beauty, vintage beauty, that is a rather classic vintage tie, which you will deliver a rather small knot. And why is that? Because the knotting point is very small. Now, I could go a little bit higher on the blade, but it wouldn't defeat the knotting formation, the knot formation. Me personally, I do like wearing slimmer ties when it comes to knotting point, not slimmer ties at the blade. In fact, this blade is 9 centimeters long, wide. So this is how I would like to wear them. And it's beautiful how we're also looking together at how this color on my shirt, the shirt I'm wearing today, which is from our collection, adapts beautifully to any type of knot. And that is because it's a mid-range, wide, is a mid-range spread. So it's not too wide and it's not too narrow. For that reason, you can knot a thick knot or you can knot a small knot, and it's never going to go out of proportion. It's beautiful, elegant, extra soft to the touch, tender. It floats beautifully and it flows beautifully. What can I say? So this tie is also available on theroma1980.com and is an absolute gem, and that's what I like to do as well with narrower ties. The kind of show the blade a little bit more, the tail a little bit more, just to compensate for that lack of width there if I want to get in proportion with the lapels of my suit that I'm wearing today. So, what questions have we got? Someone asked me to show you the tricot tie, and I'm very pleased to show you the tricot tie. And the reason why I'm very pleased, like all of the tie items that we have, my involvement in the design of this tie is very much high. Why? So the idea was born in one of my manufacturers who said to me, Angelo, why don't you do some tricot ties? And I said, never. I would never do tricot ties because I don't like the fact that they end like a sock on the blade. But I said, and I also don't like the fact that these tricot ties, they're all very short. And also, they're always very thin, very narrow. I said, if we are able to make a tricot tie in the same shape of a 30.000, we'll make them. So I took on the challenge and it delivered. So you end up having a tricot tie longer than your standard tricot tie that dimples like a normal tie, but you need to be very good at what you're doing because it is not the easiest, obviously. But you have got more hope to make a dimple with this one than a standard tricot tie that you got there, okay? Now, tricot ties, guys, you can't wear them the same way you wear a normal tie, okay? You need to be a little bit more like tolerant in terms of dimple, precision in knotting it, but we did an amazing job in the way this tie folds, okay? Forse perché sono la tua mamma, ma sei il migliore. My mom says. My mom is watching on YouTube. The golden tie you displayed earlier is a Fedora 30.000. This one? Which one is Fedora? Let me see. This is Beyond. Fedora. Let me see which one Fedora is. So my mom is watching the gold tie at the beginning. Yes, it's Fedora. Raj. Beyond, sorry. But look at this, guys. Come on. I would like to explain this as well. The beauty of this collar. Now, sometimes you will notice that you always get a sloppy gap up here, okay? And I'm going to translate this in Italian as well, because I think it's relevant for the Italians who can understand English. The sloppy gap up there between the tie and the shirt is due to two factors. One, the tie is too light and it doesn't adhere nicely to the top of the collar. Second, the collar band, this one here, is too rigid. So when it's too rigid, what it does, the tie that is very light tries to get tight around the band expands. It kind of puts force against it because it's rigid. It doesn't mold. And that's when you get that sloppy gap there. But in this case, we've got a tricot tie that's got pretty much no sole inside. So it's one of the softest and floppiest ties I've ever knotted. But you don't get a sloppy gap up there because our collar band is soft and it's not rigid like you get many shirts out there in the market. So I'm going to say this in Italian very briefly. Ok, how do I start? How do I start talking in Italian? 3, 2, 1. Allora, let me switch. Alcune volte succede che quando indossiamo una cravatta si crea qui un piccolo spazietto tra la cravatta e il collo della camicia. E questo è dovuto a due fattori molto importanti. Il primo, la cravatta è troppo soffice, è troppo sottile, non ha rigidità. Per questo motivo la cravatta avrà difficoltà ad aggrapparsi alla banda del collo, alla lista del collo, perché la cravatta non ha aderenza. Quando il collo della camicia è rigido, che poi è quello che trovi dappertutto in commercio, la rigidità della lista del collo non dà la possibilità alla cravatta di aggrapparsi intorno ad esso, quindi non si crea un'aderenza tra collo della camicia e cravatta. Per questo motivo si crea lo spazietto qui sopra. Ora, con questo non voglio dire che qui non si crea, però non si crea. Con questo voglio dire che non si crea. Quindi mi sono contraddetto 2 volte con me stesso. Quindi I was going to say, I'm not saying that doesn't happen here. And then I looked at it again. It doesn't happen. So I was right. I was contradicting myself twice. Okay? So this is it, guys. This is tricot, and it's an absolute beauty. And the beautiful thing about this tie, as I already explained, I'm talking to you, and I'm noticing that probably the buttons were not put in the right place of these bells, of these braces. You are not going to find another tricot tie anywhere in the world with these specs that you see in our tricot tie, because this is pretty much me going crazy and saying to my manufacturers, you're not going to get any tricot tie order from me unless you make it look like a normal tie. Okay? So, tricot has been explained. I'm going to close this live stream on YouTube and on Instagram, and I thank you both audiences for joining me, and I'm always very much in love when I see interaction on these two platforms, because it makes me feel like I'm not talking to myself, which is very important. It does motivate me. And talking about that, just remember that someone was asking me an important question. Gabiota, from our Regina, la mamma la conosce questa cravatta. So, I like the song. Let me listen to the song. There you go. Unlike many vintage ties, this tie features a rather bold body. And it's quite refreshing to see. Still on the slim side, but in the summer, I appreciate it. What can I say? So this is a beauty, an absolute beauty. Someone was asking, I'm gonna leave this tie on to conclude and to close this beautiful live stream, and I do appreciate everyone for your participation. Someone was asking, is it about wearing a belt with a suit or not wearing a belt with a suit? Now, me personally, I have never ever in my life worn a belt with a suit. Why is that? Two reasons. One, the suit is supposed to be a suit to make you look like one color, minimalistic, very homogeneo, in Italian I would say, very minimalistic, essential, that's the word, essential. The moment you add the belt, it looks, when you're wearing a suit, it makes you look like you're split in half. Okay, this is one. Second, the other thing that I personally detest about wearing a belt with a suit, a full suit, is the fact that the belt is virtually heavier than the trousers. Now, depending how cheap you go on the trousers. If you are cheap, they're very heavy. But if you wear fine clothing, fine fabrics, fine textiles, and I assume that if you're following me, you do, well, you're going to end up wearing a belt that is actually heavier than the trousers. There's actually a third, a very important reason. Very important. And it has to do with the way your trousers drape. If you're wearing belts, what they do, I noted this a little bit too long on the tail, just because I said at the beginning, please forgive me on this, okay? On the length. What belts do is this, okay? So it does at the back, it depends where you distribute the gather. Okay, because there's always going to be a gather. The belts, the way the belts work is by reducing the width of the trousers. So the gather is going to happen somewhere. Small, depending how big your trousers are. So the moment you add the little gather underneath the belt, you're going to change, misshape the trousers that are very light. They're not like denim. Because if you scrunch up a denim here, it's not going to get scrunched up on the leg because it's a thick fabric. But these are going to lose their shape. So they're not going to drape nicely on your shoes. But when you've got belts, when you've got braces, they're picked up, the trousers, from where they should be hanging. So if someone asked me, if you're supposed to wear a belt with a suit. Actually, you're not. Because braces were actually invented before belts. And that's what always gentlemen wore. Because braces actually do the work. Belts, I don't know why they even exist for suits. I wear them a lot with separates, and I wear them a lot with denim. But when it comes to suits, it's a big no-no, at least in my opinion. So, thank you very much for watching. I can see there are 5 people on YouTube, which is very good. I appreciate that. There are more people on Instagram, as we know. I was born on Instagram, and eventually I'm gonna try to move on to YouTube when I can. I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. I did, because you asked many questions, and I was very pleased to answer all of them. So thank you very much for watching again. If you got any questions, you can drop me a direct message on Angelo di Roma 1980 on Instagram. You can send an email to angelo@diroma1980.net. And after that, you can just come to me and talk to me in person. Ciao a tutti, stay dapper.